Tonight on Dark Matter Nap, we are going to explore a scenario that alters the very definition of planetary survival. Imagine waking up tomorrow and everything looks completely normal. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and the air feels exactly the same. But deep beneath your feet, miles inside the rocky crust of the Earth, a visual cosmic engine has just stalled. The fluid motion of our planet's liquid iron core has stopped, and with it, a silent, invisible force has completely vanished. This is Earth's magnetic field, the magnetosphere. We take this invisible shield for granted because we cannot see it or touch it. But right now, it is wrapping our planet in a massive protective bubble, acting as our ultimate baseline defense against a violent, radioactive universe. Most people think that if the magnetic field disappeared, the only problem would be that our compasses would stop working. But the reality is a terrifying countdown toward the absolute destruction of our biosphere. Tonight, we will break down the exact timeline of a world without a magnetic field. We will see how a solar superstorm would instantly blind our civilization, look at why the sky would turn into a permanent neon nightmare, and explore the slow, tragic stripping of our atmosphere. Before we face this cosmic erosion, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more curious minds like yours. Now, settle in, turn off the lights, and let's watch the shield fall. In the first 24 hours after the field vanishes, the immediate changes would be completely invisible to the naked eye. The first indicator would show up on our digital displays and navigational instruments. Every compass on Earth would instantly spin out of control, losing its connection to a stable magnetic north. Navigational systems used by ships, aircraft, and military drones would suffer immediate glitches, forcing them to rely entirely on backup satellite data. But the confusion wouldn't be limited to human technology. Nature would experience its own immediate breakdown. Millions of migratory animals, including birds, sea turtles, whales, and even insects, rely on a biological sense called magnetoreception. They possess microscopic particles of magnetite inside their brains that act as internal compasses, allowing them to navigate across oceans and continents. Without the field, their internal maps would fracture. Millions of animals would lose their way, flying or swimming in random, confused directions, cut off from their breeding grounds and food sources, triggering a massive, silent ecological collapse. Within the first few weeks, the true danger would arrive from above. Our sun is a volatile fusion furnace that constantly radiates a supersonic stream of highly charged particles known as the solar wind. Normally, our magnetic field acts like a cosmic deflector shield, forcing this radioactive plasma to slide harmlessly around the planet. Without the shield, the solar wind would slam directly into our upper atmosphere. This sudden, unshielded bombardment would trigger an immediate technological catastrophe. The highly charged solar particles would collide with our orbiting satellites, short-circuiting their delicate electronics, frying communication networks, and knocking out global GPS. As these particles travel lower, they would induce massive, unpredictable electrical currents along our surface infrastructure. The visual high-voltage transformers that power our cities would experience sudden overloads, burning out in a series of cascading failures. A permanent, global electrical blackout would roll across the continents. Cities would instantly go dark, communication would fail, and modern industrial civilization would hit a screeching halt. As the technological grid collapses, the night sky would transform into a spectacular but terrifying visual nightmare. Most people are familiar with the auroras, the northern and southern lights. These beautiful dancings of green and purple light happen because our magnetic field funnels a small fraction of solar particles toward the poles, where they safely collide with gases in the upper air. But with the magnetic field completely gone, the solar wind would strike every single square inch of our atmosphere uniformly. The auroras would no longer be restricted to the Arctic circles. They would expand across the entire globe. People sitting in New York, Mumbai, Tokyo, and London would look up to see Vishal, blinding curtains of blood red and neon green light shifting across the sky. It would look like a cinematic sci-fi apocalypse. The sky would literally glow in the dark, driven by the violent, high-energy collisions between the unshielded solar wind and the oxygen and nitrogen molecules we breathe. The night would become as bright as twilight, a permanent visual reminder that our planetary skin is being bombarded by cosmic radiation. As the months turn into years, the biological toll of the field's absence would become severe. The magnetosphere doesn't just protect our machines. It filters out high-energy cosmic rays and solar radiation that are lethal to organic tissue. Without the shield, the background radiation levels on the surface of Earth would surge exponentially. Simply walking outside on a sunny day would become a high-stakes health hazard. The ultraviolet and cosmic radiation hitting the ground would cause an immediate spike in skin cancers, cellular mutations, and radiation sickness across all biological life. Animals living on the surface would suffer rapid health declines. To survive, the human race would have to move its daily operations completely underground or inside heavily shielded, lead-lined structures. The open strata of our world would become a hostile, unlivable environment. Agriculture would become impossible as crops wither and mutate under the radioactive sky, forcing humanity to rely entirely on indoor hydroponic farming grids powered by deep geothermal or nuclear energy. But the ultimate, irreversible tragedy of a world without a magnetic field is a slow, terrifying process known as cosmic stripping. An atmosphere is held down by gravity, but gravity alone cannot protect gas molecules from the mechanical momentum of the solar wind. The solar wind acts like a continuous, high-speed atomic sandstorm. As it blasts our unprotected planet, it systematically strips away the lighter molecules in our upper air, specifically hydrogen and water vapor. We can see the definitive historical proof of this process when we look at our neighbor Mars. Billions of years ago, Mars was a warm, wet planet with thick atmospheres and viscous liquid oceans. But because Mars is small, its internal core cooled down quickly, and its magnetic field completely died. Without a shield, the solar wind sandblasted the Martian atmosphere into the vacuum of space over millions of years, turning it into the cold, dry, dead desert we see today. Without our field, Earth would follow the exact same path. Our oceans would slowly evaporate, their water molecules broken apart by radiation and swept away into space, step by step, mile by mile. Over millions of years, the unyielding solar wind would finish its long-term work. Earth would transform from a vibrant blue masterpiece into a dry, red, cratered desert world. The oceans would be completely gone, replaced by viscous, empty salt basins. The thick, protective atmosphere we have today would be reduced to a thin, toxic wisp of gas, entirely incapable of supporting complex life. The story of humanity would have ended long before, our final generations fading away inside underground catacombs as the surface of our home turned to ash. Thank you for joining me tonight on this deep exploration here on Dark Matter Nap. If this journey into a world without a magnetic field challenged the way you view the invisible mechanics of our planet, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue to create these late-night deep dives into the mysteries of existence. The next time you walk outside and look up at a quiet, blue sky, remember that its survival is paid for every single second by a silent, spinning iron dynamo deep beneath your feet. Sleep well tonight, knowing that our planet's shield is still holding strong. Good night, and may your dreams reach far beyond the horizon.